open hand into the throats.
Wrestling fans around the world know Hulk Hogan as the iconic, larger-than-life hero who defined an era. But behind the glitz, glam, and roaring crowds, the man beneath the yellow and red was far more complicated, especially among his fellow wrestlers. Over the years, some of WWE's biggest stars have openly expressed deep frustrations, even hatred toward Hogan. Their reasons go beyond simple rivalries or jealousy. They touch on betrayal, broken friendships, politics, and clashes over the soul of professional wrestling itself. In this candid look behind the curtain, we explore why some of the most respected and beloved figures in wrestling couldn't stand working with the man who, to many fans, was a legend. This is the story of Hulk Hogan, warts and all. 1. Matt Bourne, the clown who saw through the facade. Matt Bourne, better known to wrestling fans as the original Doink the Clown, might seem like an unlikely figure to hold a serious grudge against Hulk Hogan. After all, Dink's goofy, colorful persona masked a sharp wit and a strong sense of authenticity. But Bourne's criticisms of Hogan cut deep, revealing a man who saw through Hogan's larger-than-life character to a more troubling reality. Bourne has openly expressed disdain for Hogan, accusing him of being phony and hypocritical backstage. To Bourne, Hogan's public image as the all-American hero preaching, "Train, say your prayers, take your vitamins," was just a carefully crafted mask. Behind the scenes, Hogan was allegedly a very different person, one whose behavior and attitude disgusted many of his peers. "I do not have any respect for him," Bourne said bluntly in interviews. "I'd like to like the guy, but I just can't respect him. I think he's not a real person. Everything's a facade." These words come from a wrestler who never sought the limelight the way Hogan did. Bourne was not jealous of Hogan's success. Rather, his contempt was born out of witnessing hypocrisy and deceit up close. He admitted he never gave Hogan any Pollyannas, meaning he refused to flatter or pretend to like Hogan even when he was present. For Bourne, respect in the wrestling business is sacred. It's the currency that holds the locker room together. When a fellow wrestler says they can't even look someone in the eye, it's as serious an indictment as it gets. 2. Bruno Sammartino, the wrestling legend who refused to share the spotlight. Bruno Sammartino is a name that commands respect in any conversation about wrestling history. Holding the WWE Championship for over 11 years across 2 reigns, Sammartino was the backbone of the company long before the era of Hulkamania. But despite Hogan's fame and fanfare, Sammartino openly disliked him. And it wasn't just a personal issue. It was about the very soul of wrestling. Sammartino's disdain was rooted in Hogan's cartoonish style and Hollywood persona, which he felt overshadowed the true athleticism and legitimacy of wrestling. To Sammartino, wrestling was a serious sport, an art form grounded in toughness and respect. Hogan's flashy character, oversized ego, and entertainment-first mentality represented a departure from those values, one Sammartino couldn't accept. His feelings were so strong that he refused to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame while Hogan was still a prominent figure in the company. This was not a trivial decision. Sammartino's refusal to accept one of wrestling's highest honors spoke volumes about his contempt for what Hogan symbolized. Wrestling wasn't just a show to Sammartino, it was a calling. 3. Randy Macho Man Savage, a friendship torn apart by personal conflict. Few wrestling stories are as tragic or complicated as the relationship between Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. In the late 1980s, they were a dominant duo, known as the Mega Powers, captivating fans worldwide with their chemistry in the ring. Yet behind the scenes, a growing personal tension threatened to tear their friendship apart. At the heart of the conflict was Miss Elizabeth, Savage's wife and on-screen manager. There were rumors and allegations that Hogan overstepped boundaries regarding Elizabeth, creating a deep rift between the two men. Savage was vocal in his resentment, publicly trashing Hogan in interviews and even rap lyrics. "He disrespected me and my family through the media," Savage said. Their relationship was reduced to mere acquaintanceship, never friends. The feud cost both men professionally and personally. Savage even refused to work with WWE for years, and their animosity overshadowed what could have been an even more fruitful collaboration. In a bittersweet twist, the two reconciled before Savage's death in 2011. Hogan's emotional Hall of Fame induction speech for Savage hinted at regret and a desire to make amends, but the years of hatred and pain couldn't be undone. Their story illustrates how deeply personal issues can poison professional relationships, especially in the high-stakes, ego-driven world of wrestling. 4. CM Punk, the straight-edge critic of corporate wrestling culture. CM Punk's rise to wrestling superstardom was never about just fitting in or playing the corporate game. Known for his razor-sharp honesty and refusal to sugarcoat the ugly truths about the industry, Punk became the voice of the new generation, one that demanded authenticity, accountability, and respect for the craft beyond flashy gimmicks and backstage politics. So it was no surprise when Punk didn't hold back his feelings about Hulk Hogan, one of wrestling's most enduring icons. In his infamous 2011 pipe bomb promo, a moment that sent shockwaves through WWE and wrestling fans alike, Punk openly criticized the company's inner workings, calling out how the system seemed rigged to favor legacy stars over deserving talent. Hulk Hogan, to Punk, symbolized everything wrong with WWE's culture. A manufactured persona, a backstage kingmaker who wielded influence to maintain his status at the expense of others. What made Punk's disdain especially powerful was that it wasn't rooted in jealousy or bitterness. By the time he leveled his harshest critiques, Punk was already at the pinnacle of his career. He'd held the WWE Championship for over 400 days, proving he wasn't some overlooked underdog, but a bona fide top-tier talent. His straight-edge lifestyle, eschewing drugs, alcohol, and dishonesty, put him philosophically at odds with Hogan, whose past included admitted steroid use and whose reputation later suffered from damaging scandals, including allegations of racist remarks. 5. Scott Steiner, the explosive superstar who called out Hogan's hypocrisy. Scott Steiner has always been larger than life, both in personality and presence. Known for his explosive temper and unmatched physicality, Steiner's brutal honesty left no room for diplomacy when it came to Hulk Hogan. He didn't just dislike Hogan, he openly called him a piece of shit and accused him of being racist, a bold claim that resonated deeply given what would later come to light. Their shared time in WCW was marked by tension and frustration. Steiner, a powerhouse with undeniable talent, often found himself sidelined while Hogan maintained a stranglehold on the main event scene. Steiner accused Hogan of manipulating backstage politics, using his star power and influence to control match outcomes and block others from rising. The resentment boiled over as Steiner watched Hogan's reign continue, despite the emergence of fresh, deserving talent. One of the more compelling aspects of Steiner's accusations was his reference to Randy Savage's feelings toward Hogan. Steiner claimed that Savage, a wrestling legend in his own right, hated Hogan, and Steiner's close friendship with Savage lent credibility to this claim. To Steiner, Hogan wasn't just a selfish star. He was a bully who used his position to silence dissent and hold back others. 6. The Iron Sheik, from rival to social media critic. The Iron Sheik and Hulk Hogan's relationship is one for the ages, one that began in the ring with fiery battles but extended far beyond, morphing into decades of personal animosity. Their rivalry in 1984 was pivotal. It was supposed to launch Hogan into superstardom, casting him as the quintessential all-American hero, with Sheik playing the foreign villain. Yet behind the scenes, the story was far more complex and bitter. Sheik, an Iranian-American who often bore the brunt of wrestling's foreign heel stereotypes, experienced racism and prejudice firsthand. His clashes with Hogan were as much about cultural and personal differences as they were about wrestling. Over the years, Sheik's disdain for Hogan only grew, and in the age of social media, he found a new platform for his long-held grievances. Unlike the scripted rivalries of their wrestling days, Sheik's attacks on Hogan via Twitter were raw, unfiltered, and deeply personal. He openly called out Hogan for his ego and accused him of racism, a charge that was hard to dismiss given Sheik's background and experiences. What made Sheik's criticism especially fascinating was how it showed old-school grudges evolving with new technology, keeping a decades-old feud alive in the public eye. 7. Jesse the Body Ventura, the ultimate betrayal. If any story captures the depth of resentment toward Hogan, it's Jesse the Body Ventura's tale of betrayal. Ventura, a former Navy SEAL turned wrestler and politician, took wrestling's spirit of solidarity seriously. In 1986, he led a groundbreaking effort to unionize wrestlers, aiming to secure health care, retirement benefits, and basic protections for performers who, to this day, often lack such safeguards. But the effort was doomed, sabotaged from within. Ventura alleged that Hogan betrayed him by informing WWE Chairman Vince McMahon about the unionization plans, prompting threats of immediate firings. For Ventura, this was more than a workplace betrayal. It was a gut-wrenching act that compromised the welfare of every wrestler in the company. The financial and health consequences of the failed union effort have echoed through wrestling history. Many performers suffered from lack of medical care and financial insecurity long after Hogan's role was exposed. What made this betrayal especially bitter was Hogan's motivation. By WrestleMania 3, Hogan was reportedly earning more than the entire rest of the roster combined. Why rock the boat when you're already sitting at the top? 8. The Undertaker. A deception that broke trust. The Undertaker is often seen as the moral compass of professional wrestling, respected for his professionalism, discipline, and unwavering dedication to the business. So when he revealed that Hulk Hogan had lied about a neck injury to avoid losing a match in 1991, it sent shockwaves through the wrestling community. The incident centered around a tombstone piledriver, one of The Undertaker's signature moves. Hogan claimed a serious neck injury prevented him from taking a fall, but The Undertaker later learned that the injury was fabricated as a pretext to avoid jobbing, losing. In the world of wrestling, where trust between performers is paramount, this deception was a serious betrayal. For The Undertaker, who values honor and integrity in and out of the ring, Hogan's actions were deeply disappointing. Wrestling may be scripted, but it relies on a code of respect among wrestlers, especially when it comes to protecting each other's image and safety. Hogan's choice to prioritize his own self-preservation at the expense of honesty shattered that trust. This revelation painted a picture of Hogan not just as a larger-than-life star, but as someone willing to bend the truth and exploit the system for personal gain, even when it hurt those who worked alongside him. The other side of Hulkamania. There's no denying Hulk Hogan's colossal impact on professional wrestling. He brought the sport into the mainstream, became an icon to millions, and defined a golden era. But as these wrestlers' stories show, the man behind the legend was far more complicated, sometimes darker, than his public image suggested. From CM Punk's demand for authenticity, Scott Steiner's outspoken condemnation, and Iron Sheik's relentless social media barbs, to Jesse Ventura's sense of ultimate betrayal and The Undertaker's shock at Hogan's deception, these accounts reveal a man whose legacy is layered with contradictions. In wrestling, where reality and performance blur, friendships and rivalries often run deeper than the scripted storylines. For many of Hogan's peers, his actions left lasting scars, a reminder that behind every legend is a human being, flawed and complicated. The battles inside the ring may have been scripted, but the ones behind the curtain were often painfully real. Stay informed, stay updated, hit that subscribe button.